I just shot my first deer.
Very first ever?
Yes.
I think you're pulling my leg.
Nope.
Ain't no
It's
deer ever
over
drop
there,
like that.
laying down, dead.
Jake's scared of spiders. Gotta get all of them off of there.
Spiders. There was one that jumped right out of there.
I killed you.
Malicious intent.
I killed you, buddy.
It told me.
When you're taking somebody new out for hunting, or especially kids, you can never leave the truck without your snacks.
What's wrong with those donuts? They're melty.
So through these last couple of years, hunting with Danica and the kids, it changed my perspective a lot on what success in the woods means.
You're watching Victory Outdoors, proudly presented by Expedition Archery.
So in anticipation of deer season coming up, me and Ian set out to the woods and the fields, getting trail cameras set up, checking on different areas, kind of moving some stuff around. One of our big things is always climbing and checking our tree stands from prior seasons, checking the straps, checking the ladders, making sure everything's good and secure. Usual trimming shooting lanes.
Man, seriously makes this much easier. Love it. Love it, love it.
And this year we actually had a couple of tower blinds that we went and checked on. It's always good to check your tower blinds, especially, kind of keep an eye out for spiders and wasps and whatever may have made nests up in them. Getting everything cleaned out, ready to go for deer season.
Jake's scared of spiders. Gotta get all of them off of there. Did you get them all?
Yeah. It's like it's all in here, it's all up in latch. Spiders. There was one that jumped right out of there.
I killed you.
Malicious intent.
I killed you, buddy.
It told me. So I'm gonna get you.
So on top of checking our tree stands and our blinds, we tend to spend a pretty fair amount of time getting out to different farms, and a big part of our preparation for the year, we go out, start setting out mineral, trail cams in key locations, places that we know we have certain deer that we're looking for and hoping to see again. So we're out here on one of our favorite farms, me and Ian are. It's late June, so we decided to come out, and this particular piece we've gotten some awesome bucks on, and my target buck for the year is actually out here, Squirrely Dan. He tends to stick around during the summer, so we're going to set up a camera and lay out some pay dirt and hopefully get some pictures of him.
This segment is brought to you by HuntStand.
So the last couple of years, my focus personally has been on more getting my kids and my wife out for hunting. They've all come into it pretty recently, and for me, I mean, there's no better feeling than getting somebody new out into the woods.
Shoot the base.
My wife had already had success during Iowa's turkey season hunting, and got out. She had a lot of fun with that, and right after that she decided that she definitely wanted to get out for Iowa's deer season. And she thought about it quite a bit as far as what season she wanted to get into, and we kind of decided together that Iowa's early muzzleloader was going to be the perfect season for her, both weather-wise and time-wise at the time. It all panned out a lot better for the early muzzleloader. So we set up in the blind that we had out in this alfalfa field and got everything set up, cameras in place. And after a pretty eventful night, we finally kind of came down to last light, and Danica was able to get the deal sealed with a nice first deer. So the following year, next person up was my son Jackson, and after watching me hunt his whole life and after seeing Danica's success the prior year, he was more than excited to get out into the field with me and kind of get his turn at shooting his first deer.
Got your living drops, man. Perfect. Too hard. Let's go back down. Let's go back down, Jackson.
So with me and Jackson hitting the woods, it took a few more sits. Jackson got to learn that it's not always just a quick thing, you know, you go out and there's all of a sudden a deer. He had to learn a little bit of patience, and he did pretty good most of the time about it. He stayed excited and was always ready for that next hunt. So for Jackson, it kind of came down to, it was the last night of youth season, and came down to going back to that same alfalfa field. I mean, it's just an awesome field for, especially for kids. So we got out and got set up in the blind. We had Ian tag along with us to kind of help us, you know, keep an eye on the deer in the field. And come close to the end of the night, Jackson was able to make it happen, and again, it was a pretty last light thing, and he laid an awesome shot on his very first deer.
Oh, it's a buck. That one's a buck.
Don't have the buck.
I got it! Yes!
You got it, buddy. Jax, that boy. You got it. That boy, Jax. Oh, my. Oh, man.
Hey, that's Dak. Stag this boy.
Yeah? Hey. You did a good job,
legs are
dude.
shaking. My legs are shaking.
So with as much as I got to teach Jackson and Danica about, you know, what I knew about hunting, they kind of taught me something, and that's when you're taking somebody new out for hunting, or especially kids, you can never leave the truck without your snacks.
What you got there, Danica? Donuts. What's wrong with those donuts? They're melty. Got Doritos and Cheetos too. She brought snacks. She's the best hunting partner ever.
This segment is brought to you by Element Outdoors.
So in between getting Danica and the kids out to hunt, the moments that I did have to get in the stand, I focused on an area where I had a buck that I was after named Squirrely Dan. And I'd focused on him for a couple of years. Me and Ian had watched him for a couple of years prior. So my few sits that I could make it out between work and taking everybody else, or all the kids out hunting, I focused on him.
So the steer that I've been after, I named him Squirrely Dan. He's got a real neat hook in his left brow tine. And I've been watching him for the last few years. We're going on 4 years now. And seen him a couple of times, just never gotten quite into a shot opportunity on him. So fingers crossed, we're hoping today that that's going to be the case, and we can close the story on this awesome buck.
So the area that we knew Squirrely Dan was in, it was covered by a lot of smaller farms, and me and Ian had permission on a few of them. But along with that, there's other hunters in the area, and whenever we got a picture of him on the trail camera, we had to decide quick if and how we were going to make a move on him. So the deer that Ian killed out on that same area, fair game, Ian had watched him and hunted him for about 4 straight years, which is awesome when you're able to harvest a deer that you've been focused on. Unfortunately for me, Squirrely Dan, that just didn't come to fruition. He was taken by a neighboring hunter, and I mean, congratulations to that guy. It's awesome deer. Anybody'd be happy to have him. So as far as my story with Squirrely Dan goes, that chapter's ended, and I started focusing on what the next deer might be.
I'm in a blind right now that hasn't been hunted much this year, so fingers crossed something's gonna come in front of us. Right now, I'm looking for a doe, or if a big buck decides to step out, then we'll go for the big buck. But fingers crossed we'll have some luck and hopefully see some deer today.
So even though my season was kind of going in a different direction, and after Squirrely Dan, I changed my focus onto other farms and looking at other deer, Iowa's second shotgun was fast approaching, and I wound up finding success in a better way than I could have ever imagined.
This segment is brought to you by Reveal by Tactacam.
As second shotgun approached, my oldest daughter talked to me and said she wanted to get a chance to go out hunting, so we got her a tag, and she was my primary focus for that whole week. So during shotgun season, deer tend to get pushed around. Me and Kenna went out and sat one morning, and we saw a couple of deer, not a whole lot, and they just kind of didn't quite come in. So around lunchtime, I got a call from a buddy of mine, Zach Searle, and after talking to him for a little while, he said he had a bail blind set up over an alfalfa field, and he told me that me and Kenna were more than welcome to go sit and see what came out. He mentioned there was quite a few groups of does that were that frequented the area in the afternoon, and even mentioned the possibility of a buck that he had seen and gotten trail camera pictures of, usually coming out later in the evening.
Over here, Dolly.
So that afternoon, me and Kenna loaded up in the truck, grabbed some blind snacks, and we went out, set up in this bail blind, and we were gonna sit and see what came out in front of us.
You'll use that mark trees.
So it's December 11th, which means it's the first weekend of Iowa's second gun season. Been waiting a while for this one. This is Kenna's first year hunting for herself, which is really exciting. This morning we went and sat on a farm. We were gonna sit in a blind, but the tower blind we had was tipped over, so we kind of sat in between some trees, and she got to experience a little bit of cold hunting. But this afternoon we're out on a good friend's farm. My buddy Zach told us, you know, this field's usually got quite a few does in it, and so we're out here sitting, hoping for a good first deer, good doe or something to walk by. What do you think? Yeah?
Yeah.
A lot nicer sitting in a blind this time, huh?
Yeah.
So as the afternoon got along, closer to the evening, we had a couple of groups of does kind of come in. Some of them didn't quite come in to the field itself, but we did have one group come in. None of them would kind of stand still and give us a clean shot on it. Shortly after that, the big group of does cleared out, and I was getting ready to kind of wind down the hunt and caught a glimpse of some antlers in the binos and watched this buck come across the road, stood at the fence for a little while, and finally jumped into the field.
Get ready again, baby. The buck's at the fence. He's gonna take a little while coming across. All right, I think he's about to come in. All right, he's in the field. Let's let him come in a little more. Let him keep eating and get comfortable.
Kenna watched him for a while through the binos also, and looked at me and asked if she could take that deer, and I told her to just give him a minute to kind of work in, get set up into a good position. So as the buck was working his way in, we took that chance to get Kenna set up on the gun, get her in a comfortable spot, in a good shooting position.
He's coming in. Remember, put it on his shoulder, okay? Can you see him? Right on his shoulder. All right, I'm gonna take the safety off.
And this whole time, I swear I was probably shaking more than she was. I couldn't have been more excited on a hunt. Just as soon as she said she was set up and ready to go, I reached over and about as calmly as I could, and I clicked the safety off. And somewhere in that excitement, I managed to shut the camera off at the same time.
Oh no. I forgot to hit record.
I I just shot my first deer.
Very first ever?
Yes.
I think you're pulling my leg.
Nope.
Ain't no
It's
deer ever
over
drop
there,
like that.
laying down, dead.
Hey, you're a hunter now.
Yes.
You believe it? I think it's just a doe.
Oh, I saw antlers.
No.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
Possibly.
What do you think?
That's cool.
Hey,
Your first deer?
you shot a bigger deer than I have this year.
So through these last couple of years, hunting with Danica and the kids, it changed my perspective a lot on what success in the woods means. For me, I mean, there's nothing better than watching one of my kids or my wife have an awesome time hunting, and not only having a good time, but having success of their own. Kenna's deer was an absolute pinnacle to my year this year, and I couldn't have done it without the help of Zach Searle.